Welcome to Steve's Place. It's January 4th, 2026. Welcome to 2026. What a day. What a week. Tonight's show we'll have Jeff Hayes come in. He's going to give us the lowdown on Tesla and scalar technology and the medical field and the future of electronic medicine. In the meantime, I'd like to remind everyone we have a conference coming up. It's going to be August 12th to 16th in Albuquerque, New Mexico, most likely at the Crown Plaza. We expect to get the same rates we did last year, if not better. We're working on it. We're working on upgrading the menu, of course. And we're looking forward to a great cast of speakers. I'll be starting to put those out in about another week or two. I've been having in the middle of a move here. A computer crashed on me. I'm having to replace all the software that I had, and my software is like 2011 vintage, or earlier, So I'm having a difficulty getting some of the programs I'm used to using, and I'm too stuck in my ways, I guess, to try to learn the new stuff because it gets so complicated. I don't want to be tied into a subscription. But anyway, that notwithstanding, our last year's conference are still available on how to. Just go to our website and you click on the picture here, and it will take you to the how-to page, and they'll have like different things available, like our donation. If you hit the green button, you can actually donate money to us, which we really appreciate. And that all that goes directly to us, and it really helps us out. Right now, we're in the middle of a move. Like I said, our expenses are much greater than we expected, but we will survive. And once we get settled in, probably about around February, our savings should start kicking in, and we have a much brighter future. I'm moving from a 2-bedroom apartment to a 6,000 square foot building, so it's just immense. And let's see what else we got going on here. I think that's all I'm going to cover tonight. We'll be promoting our magazines. Okay, our magazines will be a complete set. Runs about $200, and we'll be promoting those. We want to get those as many people's hands, because although a lot of you have seen us on the past couple of years, our magazine was what built us, and there's a lot of good material. We have about 10, 15 years of or more magazines available, and each issue material is just as good now as it was then. Okay, so let me get rid of this. Go here, and don't forget to if you're not a member of our YouTube channel, please do so. It really helps us out. Like I say, just go to our website, and there's like a little yellow button there, and you have our YouTube channel where you can subscribe directly on there. Subscriptions are free. We have hundreds of old conferences in there, and we have just a lot of good stuff, And we also have a conference directory. If you have know what conference to look for, go to that, and it lists all the conferences in that directory. Let's see. And I encourage everyone to actually join. Just don't become a subscriber. You can join for like $9.99 a month. That really helps us. That helps keeps the lights on between conferences and that. And like I said, we have a lot of good material. We're getting ready to put more out there. I was going to put more out there, but then the computer crashed on me, and I'm almost to the point of being able to put more material up there. One of the big issues I had was that the new computers do not have DVD slots in them. So when you're trying to do the DVD thing, you have to go out and get an external one. So we got that now, and now we're getting ready to start up again. Now that I got the new place, once we get set up, we'll be converting all of our. We have all the Tesla societies from back in the '90s. All those conferences I put together, the extraordinary science conferences, I have all those on VHS tapes. We'll be putting them on DVDs, and later on upload those as well into YouTube. So help keep paying if you can, with the $9.99 thing. It really helps us a lot. And like I say, every little bit helps. And we will keep our lights on as long as we can. As long as I'm around, they'll be on. Anyway, without further ado, let me introduce Jeff Hayes. He put together this book called Tesla Revolution. It's a new book he's finally finished. He's going to come and tell us a little bit about that, and most important, about the medbed. And so, without further ado, here's Jeff. Can you hear me? You need to unmute your mic.
Okay, I'm unmuted. Thank you. Great to see you again, Steve.
Yeah.
So glad that you've gotten moved.
Yeah, well, we're already halfway there. We got the apartment moved, and we got the little garage moved, and now we got the big one. We're waiting for about 2 to 3 weeks at least, and that's going to be a big job. And,
well, we're always thinking about you.
Yeah, I've been very fortunate to have some volunteers help me. My average age of volunteers has been about 70. Bunch of old timers, huh? The old timers.
Yeah, we go way back. 89.
Yeah. Way back. Yeah, back to Colorado Springs. Remember that?
Yeah, I remember when you were converting your garage into your office, and I was coming over daily to put together the Journal of Power and Resonance. That was quite the adventure, learning PageMaker 1. And you, you got me PageMaker 1 on a 286, and you had an 80 megabyte hard drive. Oh my God, that was huge. my new computer had a 20 megabyte. I upgraded to a 40. I was halfway to Steve.
So anyway, let's get to the topic here. To come up. Yeah, you're gonna have to excuse this. I've been having problems with Earthlink, and that would be a topic for another day. But anyway, do you want to start in on the book, or?
Yeah, and you can stay in the conversation if you'd like. If you have questions, it can be interactive.
I'll be in the background.
Okay, I might prod you. I want you to change the slides, so listen closely.
I will be.
Okay. Thank you. Okay, so this is all about the new medbed rumors that are going around that Donald Trump, President Trump, promulgated a lot of interest when he said that there's stuff going up with med beds that isn't being told, and trying to pop the lid off of it, which we've been trying to do for a while, quite a while, but we're certainly not the instigators of Tesla med bed technology. But we started Tesla Engine way back in 1993, and so Tesla Engine's been around for quite a while, nonprofit and pretty well established, and we actually got the turbine technology pushed as far as it could go before. I mean, nobody can say anything against it, even though it won't be used because of political considerations. It certainly can't be criticized on its technological basis, and we've proven it does everything that Tesla said. and more. It is in commercial use for pumping and is selling billions of dollars to the oil industry. As a matter of fact, the oil industry is its biggest customer in the pumping side. But anyway, then we went on to form Tesla Health, and that's sponsored by Tesla Engine. And so that's been going for many years now. We have a Telegram site, so that's available and a lot of archive stuff there. But anyway, on to the revolution. Next page, please, Steve. Steve, there he is. Okay, here's the table of contents. So you understand it's got 3 chapters. This thing was written by AI, okay, and it's done a really good job. This was information that was entered by Mike Adams. So this isn't us talking about it. This is we've prodded AI to tell us the real story, right? And Mike Adams has been trying to get to the bottom of medbed technologies. He's with Natural News, and he set up this AI engine at Bradion.com, and you can go to Bradion.com and get this book and just download it. It's free. AI has done an excellent job with minimal prodding. I mean, it just came out with the facts, and it knows, and I know that it knows that this is correct information. I mean, most of it, almost not complete, but it's pretty freaking good. It really is. Anyway, if you look at the table of contents, understanding the foundations of Nikola Tesla's energy discoveries. And then it goes on to pulse longitudinal scalar fields, the missing link in modern medicine. And that's what it's all about. Pulsed longitudinal scalar fields, PLSF. And that is what taps into the other dimensional, geometric, otherworldly reprogramming, and comes right in and can re-download a good copy. So it's how scalar waves interact with the human biofield and cellular structure. The role of frequency resonance and coherence in healing, and that's how you do it. It's by coherence. It's by what they call phase interference. So when you have like singing bowls, for instance, that's probably the easiest way to think of it. When you resonate a singing bowl, it will resonate, and you get this low whoom, cancels. That is where you want to be. That's where the healing is. Okay, debunking myths. Why mainstream science rejects scalar energy medicine? I mean, they say it's, of course, why would they want to give up on pharmaceuticals? Historical evidence of electromedicine in ancient and modern cultures. This goes way back. And I mean, these guys knew. Comparing Tesla's technology with conventional pharmaceutical approaches. The physics of medbeds, how pulse field restore health at the quantum level, okay? Ethical and moral implications of energy-based healing technologies. And that's just chapter 1. There's 2 more. It just gets better. Oh, this is pretty good. So anyway, next slide, Steve. Okay, so we have another, we prompted the engine to generate another book, and not just cover Tesla healing, but give us the whole comprehensive thing. Give us a book about what's available in medbeds. What do you know, AI, programmed by Mike Adams, without the political, well, he does have a political leaning, but it's the other way, I think. But anyway, it gives us a lot of truth. A comprehensive guide to the medbeds. It gives you all the different technologies that are available now for medbeds. But AI says in this book that all the others are just crap compared to what Tesla has. Quantum healing, that's where it's at, an order of magnitude. Okay, and that's what we're talking about. Next slide. Okay, I told you Tesla Engine is sponsoring this. So we have another AI book. We prompted it to write us a book about Tesla's bladeless turbine engine. And boom, it came up with an excellent book as well. That's available at Bradion as well. Next slide. Okay, these med beds, these companies are selling these things for big dollars. I mean, there's rumor that the military has super advanced med beds and whatnot. But there are med beds that are available to the public and they use different technologies that are explained in the previous book. This is what's available, like IR, and a lot of them use IR and healing wands, which are Tesla healing wands, which are biphasic light wands, which use coherent light to do healing. But they charge big dollars, as you see there. Go next slides. Next slide, Steve. There we go. Here's the one for infrared. Okay, that's all it does is infrared. That's its specialty, but it's almost 50,000. Next slide. Okay, and here is ours. This is new from us, Tesla Engine Health Giver, Tesla Health Giver, MedBed, high potential, low frequency, PLSF, pulse longitudinal scalar frequencies, featuring 16 UV emitting electrodes, each individually driven and biphasically synchronized into phase conjugation. Coordinate bed resonance for a complete and powerful longitudinal immersion with individual, infinitely variable power adjustments for both upper and lower bed. Inquiries welcome. Tesla Engine at TeslaEngine.org, or TEBA, TEBA at TeslaEngine.org. So this is the best bed ever. It's just unbelievably good. So, I mean, like AI says, quantum is where it's at, and there's no comparables at this time. It's an amazing piece of equipment. But we also have portable one. We have a portable unit that we also make. You don't have to jump into a full bed. Anyway, it's not cheap. We're asking just under 50,000 for this. It's a donation, tax deductible. Next slide. And this gets its roots from the old Tesla-Lakovsky setups where they were using high frequency. But Tesla abandoned high frequency. And my talk at the Teslatech last year was all about the origins of why Tesla abandoned this high frequency techniques and went to low frequency. And that's what the new Tesla Health Giver MedBed is employing. Okay, Tesla coined the press coined the term health giver for Tesla's low frequency techniques. Because when it was announced in 1896, the end of all organic disease. Okay, it didn't go over too well. But I mean, they may have been overstating things a bit, but it is amazing. And maybe they weren't, because it's been FDA approved now for the most difficult of cancers, versions of it. But these old Lakovsky machines do work, but they run at high frequency. The problem with them is they also emit EMF. The Tesla abandoned the technique because it wasn't necessary to emit EMF. And when you eliminate the EMF and the RF, then you can get intimate with those coils. Right now, where she's sitting, if she was to put a hand out and grab a hold of each of those coils, she would be severely burned. I mean, and from the inside out, RF burns if it was running at high power. And so with the low frequency, she can take those things, put one on her chest, one behind her back, and blast the longitudinal energy right through her chest, and have nothing but a warm, comfortable feeling of embracement. So it's a whole different world when you go low frequency. Next slide. So there's our portable unit. We're calling it Tesla Go. You don't have to, this employs 2 pads, and you can put them right up against you, and no problem. This is a low frequency device. It's really revolutionary. There's no comparables to this. And this is affordable. This is less than $4,000 delivered. And there's nothing out like it for the price. There's a competition, but it's almost $20,000, and not as good in my opinion. Certainly not as portable, and probably not as I don't know their waveform, but I'm sure ours is superior. As you see above there, biphasics is where it's at. It's the yin and the yang that makes it work. and you have to have the two poles. And what you do, the way that you get healing is you get between them. You get balanced. When you're between yin and yang, and you're in the center, in that neutral point, that's where the healing is, okay? And nobody knows, maybe somebody knows a little more than somebody else, but nobody really knows the core of what the hell is going on. But we do know that's where you got to be if you want to be balanced and whole and actually alive and healed. Okay, next slide. So that's the paradigm. We're biphasic. We have one side of us is love, the other side is fear. And if we don't have balance, we're totally messed up. I mean, totally. So, I mean, the love side, you know, is that's wrong. I mean, they say higher frequency. I take issue with that, but that's the common belief. But Tesla certainly didn't believe that. And he abandoned higher frequency for the lower frequency. That's where the healing is. That's where you go at night when you need to be recovered and to be restored and rejuvenated. You go to the lowest frequency possible. We can talk about that for a long time. But it does create order, coherence. Now that's where they have it right. And in that coherence, in that still small voice is where it is at. And that's where the healing and the connection and the reprogramming and the hope lies. It strengthens the immune system, ignites growth and repair, activates more DNA coding sites. And this technology has been proven, documented to increase ATP production by the cell by a factor of 4 times. And ATP is manufactured by the mitochondria, and that means you have more mitochondria, and more mitochondria you have per cell means you are younger. It lengthens telomeres. Fear lowers frequency. No, that's wrong. Fear raises frequency. Think about it. When you get angry, what do you feel like? You are freaking on fire. Your head could be burning, and you are at the highest possible frequency. That's a completely wrong paradigm. Now, if you watch my presentation from last year at Teslatech 25, you can get that from Steve. I talk all about it. We don't have enough time here, but it's a huge subject. Creates disorder and dissonance. That is correct. Lowers immune function, of course. Ignites stress and disease. You bet. Activates less DNA coding sites. How could it not? Shortens telomeres. Of course. Next slide. Okay, there we are at Teslatech 25 with our display with Tesla Go on hand. And right next to us was Therify with Paul and his equipment. So Paul Harris. So there we are. He bought one of these units because he's so impressed. He's come up with a new meter to actually measure that still small space, that longitudinal energy. He can actually measure it with a probe. Amazing new device that he's come up with. And he's compared our machine to his machine, and they measure almost identically. So this little machine is putting out what Therify can do. And all you need is those 2 pads, and it can put right across against your body, and they do not burn you in any way. It's an amazing little machine, Tesla Go. That's how you get this new, and you don't need a med bed. I mean, you can make your own med bed. You use those pads, and you put them on your bed, and you have a med bed. Next slide. Okay, here is the waveforms from Tesla Go. These are amazing biphasic waveforms. I don't seen anybody else that is doing this. I'm sure that not in this realm anyway, but it's an excellent output. You see, it's biphasic. It goes one way, it goes the other. It goes one way, it goes the other. 50 or 60 cycles. If you're in Europe, it's 50 cycles. If it's in US, it's 60 because we ride the line frequency as a carrier and then switch it on when we want it and make a big, huge pulse. And you see that those big pulses, that's when it turns on, those vertical pulses, and that's what you need to make a disturbance, to get a longitudinal effect, to get a scalar wave going, you need to prod the ether in the most violent way possible. Tesla called it a severe shaking up. So you want to punch it as hard as you can and make it resonate. And when you resonate the higher ether, that's where you get the reprogramming in. So you have to strike it like a bell, and you want to be inside the housing of the bell, absorbing the phase interference that happens inside of there between the two waveforms, and get in the middle of the canceling zone after you've struck it. And that's where you get the healing. Okay, so you boom, boom, and then you can see what's happening. You strike, and then you resonate. You strike, and then you resonate. And it resonates across the entire spectrum, all the way up to light. Anywhere you take a radio and listen up on UHF, and you can hear it. It's everywhere. It just powerfully affects the entire ether across the spectrum. There's nothing like it. And that's why it heals. It reprograms, it re-resonates, it reassigns. Next slide. Next slide. There we go. So that's what Tesla said. It's all about biphasics, and you want to get in between there. That's where the healing is. Okay. Next slide. And the good news is there's two types of this. There's not only the true biphasics, which we've been seeing, which is really revolutionary and very expensive. There's also something that Tesla came up with is very similar, called near biphasics. And that has been mass produced now for massage and pain relief. So it's available for almost nothing. Okay. And it's been approved by the FDA now, commercial versions, for the most difficult of cancers, glioblastoma. Okay, it's the same exact technology. Matter of fact, this unit here you see, if you hurry up and look on Amazon, I think it's still on sale. I just bought 22 of them because they're just too good. I mean, give them away. I mean, but this thing is better than the medical unit. It's so versatile. You can control the pulse width. You control the frequency. You can control the time. You can make it run continuous. It's the only unit I've seen that you can make it run continuously like the medical units, because when you have glioblastoma, you wear it 24/7. This unit, not that I'm suggesting that, I'm not giving any medical advice here. I'm just telling you the facts. Technically, this could most likely be used just as effectively. Next slide. So then I did a talk at last year's called Origins, Tesla's Medicine, Why Tesla Switched from High Frequency to Low Frequency Techniques. And that's a big story, and we can load some of that footage up and talk about what was in that. But if you have any questions, Steve, or anybody else has any questions at this point, would be a good time. And we can refer to the other presentation. And there's a lot of information in there. So if you have a question, we might be able to find a reference for you there. So Steve, are you there, Steve? I don't see you, Steve. Maybe he's booting the other one up. Anyway, this whole thing about med beds being a fallacy. They're talking about limb regeneration and age reduction. Well, we know age reduction, even near biphasics. Okay, near biphasics is not as good as true biphasics. But even near biphasics has been documented to increase the ATP by an average of 4 times typical. So it does do it. So I don't know what they're talking. And the thing is, it's less than $30. My God, if people just knew. I mean, if you're listening to this and you don't buy one of those, I don't know. I don't know about you. Anyway, Steve,
have you tried the H-shaped biphasic wave yet?
The what? Say again?
H-shaped biphasic wave.
H-shaped. No. What's an H-shaped biphasic wave?
I don't have a clue.
Well, it's got to be biphasic. All it means is you're going to be the same on both sides of the waveform. Can you go back to the waveform, Steve? Go back to the waveforms. We'll show you what a biphasic wave is.
Hold on, let me.
Yeah. Anybody else have any questions? Chime in. I mean, this is your chance. I mean, I can't believe this is like a big thing, and it's available to you. You can go out and actually use this stuff. I mean, those units just blow me away. I mean, you look at the medical unit, it's called NovoCure. Their little unit is just so plain Jane and nothing. You can't adjust anything. This is just, you can get a good massage and pain relief. You can't do that with the medical unit. And they charge $10,000 for it. Okay, here we go. You can see that the cycle is switching every 30th of a second. This is 60 cycles. So you have 3 pulses down and 3 pulses up at low power. But you see it's biphasic. What is down is what is up. Okay, and this is what's important, because if you just went one way, and this is where Rife screwed up, because Rife did good things, and he stumbled into a lot of this stuff, but Rife had absolutely no idea what Tesla was doing, to his detriment. I mean, he was going with Lead the Forest, who has developed the radio stuff. So Rife was one step away from Tesla. He didn't understand any of these concepts. Rife didn't understand any of the longitudinal, and he understood heterodyning, and that's where he came and got these beat notes and came up with biphasic heterodyning, but he was always on one side of the waveform. He didn't go positive and negative. And there's a problem when you do that, because if you will go only positive and you only go negative, you have an imbalance. And it's the same way with us physically. If you're on the left or the right side and you're not a balanced individual, you are going to be in big trouble. And same way with waveforms. If you're on one side of the curve, it's like being hot all the time. Okay? And eventually you get burned. And by contrast, on the other side is cold. You're going to get frozen, right? You're going to be dead either way. But if you go hot, cold, now you can take it all day, forever, okay? And that's the key with biphasics. It's not about getting the longitudinal effect. The longitudinal effect comes from striking a bell, okay? So boom, that's what we want. But if we go boom, we're dead, okay? We got to go boom, and stand in the center and resonate. And then we stay alive. We get cured. We get healed for some reason, right? But it works. Amazing. So that is biphasics. And the one in the yellow is when you turn the power up, you see what happens. You get more spikes. You get more spikes, and those per unit of time, and that's more power. But you see the spikes are those are the bongings. If you don't have the bong, you got nothing. And Tom Vallone at Integrity Research references papers because he built the EM pulsar, this little box, and it puts out little pulses. I mean, but I don't know how it could work. It's so wimpy. I mean, it's got a coil in there that puts out little boom pulses. But with Tesla you get in between, and you got 45,000 volts, and you get a complete shaking up. But that's what but Tom Vallone has established. Go to integrityresearch.com. He's got the paper there that explains why you need the impulse to get healing, and the studies that show that only an impulse, a good striking of that bell, is going to give you healing. That is documented. Okay, so that's biphasics. Same as up and same as down. And just cancel the hot with the cold. And even defibrillators now are gone biphasics. Defibrillators used to be really dangerous devices because they were just one way. And I mean, they weren't now they're biphasic. They go zzz and give you positive, negative. And they don't go and just blast you and incinerate you. I mean, they didn't, but Tesla's technique has made defibrillators safe for the first time. Thank God. I mean, they killed people.
Here's another question. How do you use that little machine from Amazon? How long, how many times per day, etc.?
Well, if you really want some age reversal, I would use it a couple hours a day. But that's typically what they did for the studies. And the other thing is, it's good for any kind of psychological condition. It's the best treatment, better than any kind of pharmaceutical. It will get you off of opiates in 3 days without withdrawal. That's the big secret. I mean, that's where this first came in to use. When back in the 70s, they were charging $3,000 a day for this technology because it was a big revelation that this is how you could get off of heroin in 3 days without a withdrawal. And people back with 1970s dollars would pay $3,000 a week to get off of heroin. It only took 3 days. So the same thing can be done with this little device for $22.30 if you get jump on it right now. So what a world, eh? And still people won't do anything. Still people won't do anything about it. That's the crazy part. Any other questions? I mean,
my thing is so jerky.
Yeah, you said you had a problem with electromedicine, Steve. I didn't quite catch what all that was about. You said you had some kind of reaction to it. What was that about?
Oh, I do. I mean, I'm EMF sensitive.
Well, this isn't about EMFs. This is the whole trip.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. I still get some off on the side. It's like once you've been frozen, chilled to the bone, you get cold, you feel it. Whether it's that intense or not, you feel it. A lot of psychic memory gets kicked in and everything. But I can.
So what have you tried? Did you try our equipment at the conference?
Yeah, I did.
So did you put your hands on each pad and let it go right through your chest and your heart and everything?
I did that, but I could taste it. Once I start tasting it, I get away from it.
Well, you got metal in your mouth?
Pardon?
Have you got metal in your mouth?
I don't have teeth anymore, so I don't have any metal in my mouth.
Oh, well, you're feeling it on your tongue like you take a 9-volt battery, you put it on your tongue, and you're feeling it. And yeah, I've never experienced that. I've run it. So I've been running at the most intense. I mean, I've been a test case for this stuff. I mean, I've run it at the highest possible levels. You don't. I mean, you have to have a good contact. I mean, you can't when you're at those high levels, you can't just go near the pad and get a spark going, because it's like static electricity. You hit the doorknob, but it's static electricity that doesn't stop. It won't hurt you, but it'll make you react. You might hurt yourself hitting something else.
Well, maybe it's my alien biology, but I'm very sensitive to electromagnetic fields, and I'm around testicles and that. If I'm around too long, I start tasting it. It's in my blood, it freezes metal in my blood or something. I can taste it in my mouth, Well,
you ever take a 9-volt battery and put it on your tongue?
To what?
Have you ever taken a 9-volt battery and put it on your tongue? Taking the electrodes and just put it on your tongue?
I've done that. And you get the
is that what it tastes like?
Something like that.
Well then,
but you get some metallic taste.
Yes, I don't think it's going to hurt you. It's something you probably might have to get used to. I've never experienced that. But anyway, let's go into the next set of slides if there's no more questions.
Okay. So, it says for age reversal.
What did you think? What did you think of the machine when you tried it? When you tried Tesla Go? What did you think of it? I mean, did you put it up at high power? Was I there? I didn't remember it. I never remembered that. Who was there? I would have remembered if I put you on that machine.
Yeah, well, he wasn't there. It's that other guy that was there. I can't remember his name. I have memory problems too, but I take this stuff called
Byington. Is Byington? Yeah, he's a good guy.
But
Well, did he crank it up for you, or were you too wimpy to? You probably would have like flown across the sky or something like.
well, anyway, you had another question here. For age reversal, where's the best location to place the pads of our device?
Well, I can't give any medical advice, but I would just wear them anywhere. I mean, Bob Beck, remember him? He was doing it back at 5 cycles per second. This is the same stuff that Beck was doing. So you can do blood purification the same way he was doing with his machine. Just put a pad in each wrist, and the blood flows past the wrist. So you're going to get complete coverage of all the blood in just a few minutes if you put them right on the wrist. And it, according to Bob Beck, it deparasites purifies the blood. And of course, it actually charges, electrifies the blood. And it's all in that little machine. I mean, for $22.30.
And I'd like to
they should pay me a commission.
remind people, I have all Bob Beck's videos from Global Science up on our website, on the YouTube channel. So go look them up.
Oh, yeah.
Okay,
All that stuff with Bob Beck, you can do with this machine. Yep.
Okay, now you
even better, because Bob Beck's machine was so freaking crude. He was using relays, just clicking back, boom, positive, negative, doing biphasics just with relays. And that's why it was at 4 hertz, because he couldn't go any faster, because the relays weren't designed to switch that fast, and the contact would start to float. So that's why he was at 4 hertz. And then he went and said that it was a subharmonic of the Earth's frequency when it had nothing to do with it. He didn't really realize what was happening. He didn't know about Tesla either. Bob Beck had not a clue about Tesla. He didn't get that stuff from Tesla. He got it from the guys that were doing the heroin withdrawal stuff. They figured that out.
Here's a question for you. What is EMF?
Electromagnetic field.
Yeah, you might want to explain a little bit.
Oh, well, there's two components in the electric world. One is longitudinal and one is transverse. So a transverse wave, everything in our world here is what we see is in a transverse state, riding on top of the transverse component. And since we're riding on top of the transverse component, we can't see the transverse component unless we can't see the longitudinal component, because we're a part of it riding on top of it. So the only way we can experience the longitudinal component, which is sometimes called in the religious realm, source, okay? So we oscillate back and forth, love and fear, and in the middle is source. But what is EMF? EMF is the electric is the magnetic current component. Okay, there's two components could be referred to as voltage, which is the longitudinal, and current, which is transverse. So you have two components there. So if you cancel the only way you can see the longitudinal is if you cancel the transverse. So if you do phase conjugation and pit the frequency against itself and cancel out the magnetic component, you're left with the voltage standing, which is longitudinal in nature, and you're back to balanced source center. And that's where the reprogramming and the healing comes in. And that balance can only happen with love. So if you're on the left side, you're not going to heal anybody anyway. Everybody knows that. So it's just physics, and that's the way it works throughout. So you're not actually a physical thing. You're a physical field. So you're applicable to the exact same physics. So we got what's another question? Can Spooky 2 right frequency machine create biphasic waves? From what I've seen from the Spooky, I think I've seen a little bit. They got 2 boxes. They got one antenna on one side, got one antenna on the other, and high frequency. I've never had any personal experience, but it looks like it might be biphasic coherence. I think it is, but I'm not sure. I've seen the boxes. I've seen the remote antenna, but I can't vouch for it, but it certainly could be. Okay, sorry. Anything else? Okay, origins. Tesla's medicine. Why Tesla switched from high frequency to low frequencies? And spooky too is high. I knew that is high frequency. Nobody's low frequency. I mean, except one other person. That's not the spooky. Nobody knows. Everybody's gone. It's always been high frequency, and you got to be into Tesla to figure it out, and we've figured it out. Next slide. So low frequency health giver is where it's at. Next slide. So this is why it was called the Tesla health giver. This was in the Detroit Free Press. It was announced in 1896, Tesla's low frequency techniques. And as a result, it was announced the end of all organic disease, and no one would die from now on except from old age and accident. And now we find out that it is age reversal as well. So Tesla did not get it completely correct. He was too conservative. Next slide. And then they really came down hard on Tesla and told him no more of this end of all organic disease stuff, but said, okay, just like most medicine, they apparently said you can go ahead and talk about it for topical means. Okay. And so Tesla the next year came out and started talking about it for topical means, like that's typical of the pharmaceutical thing. You can promote it for topical, but not for internal ingestion. So that's apparently what they did here. So Tesla went full bore saying it was the end of all electrical cure for skin disease, So back in the headlines. But then it quickly went back out again because I think even this was too much for them. Next slide. Yeah, so next slide. Next slide. Yeah, so this device Tesla was talking about allowed you to take an electric bath, and it certainly does. I mean, I've got one. I've got the health giver right here. And you can, oh my God, just ozone. This just turned on real low right now. Oh my God. You're right in the middle of a longitudinal field. Now this can be your med bed, Put one on your feet. I put one on my feet and one behind my back. Put it on real low, and it just recharges it. So you can take an electric bath. Next slide. Yeah, Tesla Go. Next slide. And that's what it's all about. Biphasic longitudinal scalar fields is what we call love. It's other dimensional. Everybody knows how healing it is. It's just an amazing thing. And you can only get back to source by canceling. You don't get there by love alone. Love is a balance, and that's how you get to source. But without that balance, without that fascination, we're done. Next. So it's the same in the electrical world, yin and yang, and that's what PEMF is about, pulse electromagnetic field therapies. What they attempt to do is get the white eye of yin from yang. So yang is current. All right. So what they do is they have a coil of wire and they blast big current. They charge up a capacitor and then they discharge it all at once through a coil and get a magnetic field. And that magnetic field then is applied therapeutically. Okay. That's completely different than what Tesla was doing. I mean, Tesla was using the voltage side, but you can use the current side. But it's really foolish because doing that takes huge amounts of current and expense. And they're after that white eye. See that white eye of yin and yang? That's what they're after. Okay. And you can do it. And they do it, get some healing from it. but it takes a lot of current. I mean, big, thick, huge cables. They got these things for horses. And it's really foolish. They put these big, huge cables around the horse's leg or whatever, and then blast it with pulses of current, and they get the little eye, But why don't you just use the other side and start using Tesla's techniques on the other side, okay? Which is almost all longitudinal and not transverse, and it doesn't take current. It only takes voltage, and you don't pay for voltage. You only pay for current flow. Makes power. You only pay for power. If there's no current flow, there's very little current flow, like the little black eye and yin. That's all you're dealing with. Then you can live with it, and it's affordable. Runs on batteries for hours, for days. These little units. I mean, amazing. 600 milliamp hour battery in that little thing. I mean, run for days and days. Amazing. Next slide. So we got the brainwave synchronization. That's what we're all about, synchronization. That's where you have your power. It's when you work together, when you're biphasically tuned in resonance and coming into that balance point. And if you're in that balance point, then you can go either way. You can defend. You can become violent and defensive if need be, right? But you can also, if you're balanced, you're in the center. You can come back to center, and then you can also veer back into the other side and become completely loving, and go where it's peaceful, right? Which is actually in the center is where you get the most peace. But you can express love, you can express fear appropriately, but only if you're in the center. Next slide. So our brains are biphasic, our lower lobes, one's fear, one's love. And they've done experiments where they take big magnetic coils and they can actually put one side of those lower lobes to sleep. And they've actually done that. So you can take a big coil with lots of, they call them Teslas. The magnetic flux density is measured in Teslas. So high Tesla field is applied, and then they can paralyze one side or the other, and they can make the person's personality completely change from one of complete love to one of complete fear. Completely been documented to be a physical fact. That's how we work. That's how we are. It's just a fact. We're biphasic. Next slide. So, science cannot solve the ultimate mystery of nature. And that is because in the last analysis, we ourselves are a part of the mystery that we're trying to solve. Max Planck. So that's the problem. We're never going to figure it out because we are it. That's just, we are it. Next. And we are in this biofield, and it's biphasic. Next slide. Here's Lukovsky, Tesla. Lukovsky came up with these healing techniques. Lukovsky copied Tesla and came up with single pole Tesla coils, and he was using them for healing. And Tesla got word of it, was upset, thought that Lukovsky was stealing his thunder. And when he was in France, went to confront Lukovsky, but found him so charming that he forgave him and actually made his equipment work the way it was supposed to. He made it biphasic. So he made his, that's why we hear about Lukovsky, because Lukovsky actually went and made it listen to Tesla, because Lukovsky was actually trying to help people, and Tesla picked up on that and helped him. And that's what we know about Lukovsky. But Tesla made it work biphasic, and it healed many, many people and works great. Tesla went beyond it, though, and eliminated the carrier, came up with low frequency biphasics, and that is now the gold standard, okay? Low frequency biphasics is where it's at. Next slide. So many people have heard about the violet ray. It's a handheld single pole device that Tesla originally started out with that can generate ozone on the skin. But if to make this to have biphasics, you need two of these things, and that's where you'll get much more healing effect if you have two of these and get between them. So what you do is you get two of these and you drive them together at opposite polarity on the primaries and make the secondaries attractive, and that makes them biphasically driven. Next slide. So here you could actually, somebody came up with it. I found this on the internet. Somebody came up with two and made it, but actually made it biphasic. So you need something like that to make it biphasic. Pretty clever. Next. So here's Tesla's original patent. It was only single phase. So you see how it works. You have a primary that gets power, a DC, and then you have a vibrator, and that vibrator chops it into AC so that you have a fluctuating voltage on the primary so it can make the transformer work. Gives you a higher voltage on the secondary, which charges the capacitor. The capacitor charges up to full potential and eventually gets to the point where it can overcome the gap. It will jump the gap. It gets enough voltage and discharges through the gap. The spark gap there. That switching there of jumping, that does that at a high frequency. So even though it was that frequency is created right there at the gap, it generates a frequency and oscillates back and forth. It makes a high frequency on the primary of that coil there. And that primary then stimulates the secondary at high voltage. So you have a low voltage at high frequency, making a high voltage on the secondary. And then you have a single, and you get in front of that supposedly and try to pick up some waves off of it. But it's very, very inefficient and it doesn't really work. But so that's what Lakowski had when Tesla confronted him. Now, this is what Tesla fixed. Go next slide. Tesla fixed it. So what Tesla did, you see the secondary comes out instead of just going to a single secondary and then to the coil. So instead of having just one transformer, now you have two transformers and two coils. And those transformers and the primary are out of phase with each other. So that makes an attractive force on the secondaries between the secondaries. Okay, so you get a big surge of power between those two that you never get with just a single pole device. And now what this allows you to do is to get into the longitudinal field. Because what happens when you discharge between these two and you're in that current field there, that high potential voltage field, is where the longitudinal scalar waves are produced. So that's where the wave canceling occurs. Because what happens is you switch, when that frequency is switching back and forth violently between the two windings, it's canceling the EMF. And when it cancels the EMF, then you can get the longitudinal expression. And then you can get between them. But the only place you're going to get that longitudinal expression is between those two. No place else. You can't stand beside a coil. Yeah, you'll get some benefit. You'll be in the electrostatic field. Maybe you'll get a little bit of an electric bath. But these single pole people that are charging $60,000 or more for a single pole little tabletop device is crazy, and they don't work well. I'll put it that way. So what you do is got to get between those two. And that's where you're going to get in the longitudinal field. And that's what the new Tesla MedBed does. Those electrodes are all around you, and you are just completely surrounded in the longitudinal potential. And it's also possible with that bed to switch the polarity. So you can have the potential be vertical between the ends of the electrodes, or you can make the bottom electrode one potential and the top electrode one potential. So you can switch the longitudinal effect on the Tesla bed from positive to negative or vertical to horizontal on the fly, just by flipping a switch. And it flips. Every bulb has its own, or every electrode has its own transformer. So they're all switchable. They're all configurable. So you just flip a switch and boom, it's one polarity. Boom, it's the other polarity. It's really neat. Nothing else like it out there. Next slide. And I think we skipped one, but this shows how easy it is to build your own biphasic high frequency device. This was in the Multipolar Handbook by Tom Brown. It's a good book. And this shows you how you can easily make your own biphasic coil. You get a bottle and you put a few windings on it for the primary and windings for the secondary, and out to the coils or the antenna, and you power it with a neon sign transformer, which is real common, and you have a capacitor in there. So for almost nothing, you could make your own Lakowski type device at high frequency. I wouldn't recommend this because it's got a spark gap. Anything with a spark gap, avoid. That's what's great about Tesla Go. All these units out there using spark gaps. It's just so crude and so unnecessary now with solid state switching. I mean, Tesla Go is. We started out the spark gap. We started out that way in the box. We had the spark gap in the box, but that thing is just such a hassle, and it doesn't switch consistently. I mean, with solid state stuff, thyristor with line frequency reference, it's dead on. Next slide. This is Peter Lindemann made a bunch of these units, Lakowski reproductions, and you can see you get between the windings, you get in the longitudinal field, you got to be between the phases, you got to be in that current flow, and the current flow is switching back and forth, and it's biphasically canceling the EMF. And where you want to be is between those. Up on top, you see there's 2 Tesla coils that are biphasically driven. Of course, you would never want to be between those 2 coils, but in a much more controlled fashion at low frequency, you can get between those even more powerfully at low frequency, because you don't get all that arcing and whatnot. You just get in the field. You get pure longitudinal. All that arcing is a waste of energy. It's good for showmanship and whatnot, but you don't want arcing. That's just a waste. I mean, it's destructive waste, and it puts out X-rays and all kinds of other terrible and noxious stuff. Next. And here's how Tesla started out with biphasics back in the day, 1889, right? And you see how it works. You have a primary in the center, and then you have 2 poles. So the winding is all in one direction on that coil, on the secondaries. But because the geometries are polar, you get 2 different potentials on each side, and they're attractive to each other when driven in the center. So that's biphasics. That's what made everything work. This is the secret that Tesla brought to Lakowski. This is how you do it. Next. And here's a more modern example with the driver in the bottom. It's been reproduced by many back through the days. Next. This is a unit built by Eric Dollard, and it's a high frequency. It started out single pole, and they wanted to reproduce Lakowski's original work, which was single pole. So they tried to sell the single pole device, and Eric put it together for him, but Eric didn't like it at all and said it should be biphasic, and so Eric modified it, and now for a $1,500 option, it should be with the original. That's what it should be. But for an option now, you can make a Tesla Lakowski. Don't get the original Lakowski. That does not work. I mean, it does not work. Do not waste your money. For some reason, they could not figure out the fact. Well, Eric did. Good boy, Eric. Next slide. So there's Eric sitting between with his tube lighting it up. Our machine will do the exact same thing at low frequency. There you see it lighting up a gas tube at high frequency. You're in the longitudinal field, in the scalar field between those 2 antennas. Okay. So, and the second article there, they asked Tesla, what's the 2 most important words, or what is the most important word? And Tesla said the most important word is nature. And they asked him what's the second most important word, and he said light. And everything is compressed, harmonized, cohered light. Next slide. So there's 2 types of waves, transverse and longitudinal. transverse waves, electromagnetic communications, earthquakes called S waves cannot implosively compress, whereas longitudinal waves are more like sound waves, conjugate healing at a distance, mind waves, naturally superluminal and penetrates most barriers transparently. Earthquakes, P waves. So there's two waves, and there's, they correspond to love and fear, which is, that is really a trip. Next slide. And here we have Paul Esch. He was at the conference 2 years ago with his bed. And here's a med bed, and for a reasonable price, around $10,000. But it's high frequency, and it's but he discovered, and he talked about it. He did a talk, and during his talk, he told about how he discovered the difference between single pole and biphasics. He had no idea what he was doing at first. He just he was building Tesla coils for people because they wanted them, and he was making electronic gadgets, and he was selling Tesla coils, and people were using them and getting some marginal result. Who knows? But somebody said they wanted two of them. He wanted to use two of them together, one of his clients, and for some reason, so he hooked up two of them together and hooked up the primaries, counterphased, and made them biphasic secondaries. And wow, like an order of magnitude increase in effect that they could notice. I mean, it was like they noticed it. It wasn't like there's something going on here. And he talked about that in his talk. And after this talk, I said, well, didn't you know that's the way Tesla did it? That's the way it's supposed to be. No, I discovered that on my own. I said, well, that's great. That's confirmation. Independent. But that's the way it works. You got to be in between to get into longitudinal scalar potential. Next slide. So new modern med beds, who knows what they got? I bet they got some really wild stuff. I mean, I think the Tesla engine bed is good, but I'm sure it looks like nothing compared to what they've got now. But who knows? Limb regeneration, most certainly, in my opinion. Next slide. And there is one competition to Tesla Go. There is another company making low frequency devices, but they are very expensive. And now their prices have gone up. Now they're starting at $17,500. So it's kind of out of price. It's way overpriced. And I think our machine, look how portable that guy is. I just blows it away. I mean, there's got to be rolled around on wheels in a big case. And it's got a big variac on top of it. Instead, we got a nice little controller right inside the unit. We don't have to use a big variac on top. But it does work, and it's low frequency. So more power to them, but expensive. Next slide. And there's their unit. The variac on top to control the voltage. So it's got two big coils inside running at low frequency. And then external voltage control. I don't understand why they didn't put it in the box. Next slide. So you can put your feet right on there without getting burned. If that was a high frequency device, you'd have RF burns. But with low frequency, you can get intimate with the device without getting damaged and being part of the longitudinal circuit. Now you see he's got a foot on each side, so the longitudinal potential is him. You see it's going, the circuit, the communion is in him. Next slide. And here's these little tabletop single pole units for big money. It's just stay away. Next slide. And Reif was on the right track. He had a great microscope, but he did not understand what Tesla was doing. I wish he had. He would have been way, way ahead. Next slide. So they're selling these Reif machine gizmos for some big money. If they're biphasic, yeah, they might be workable. They might work, but for that kind of money, you could have a Tesla Go. Next slide. So Rife was using biphasics, but he was only on one side of the waveform, like I was saying earlier. And this is a scope pattern taken off of a film of his original work, right off of his oscilloscope. This is Rife's oscilloscope pattern. So, and according to this video, Rife experimented with biphasic square wave waveforms and declared them most effective, stating he used carrier frequencies between 13 and 43 megacycles. I mean, talk about high frequency. Rife was way, way, way up there. And I mean, even Tesla Lukovsky was only at 500 kilohertz, and Tesla went down to 100 hertz finally. But 13 and 43 megacycle to 13 megacycle, I mean, that's all the ham bands and everything. It works everywhere. It's the key. If you can do biphasics and cancel out the EMF, this healing effect happens anywhere. It's frequency independent. Even up into light, you can cohere light and make it healing. Or sound, the healing bowls. It's all across the spectrum. It's amazing. I mean, this is way higher frequencies than Tesla Lukovsky, which were in the 0.5 to 2 megacycle range. Of course, Tesla's health giver obsoleted it all with elimination of the carrier, allowing for a much safer and effective user-friendly device. And that's what we have now. I mean, all this Rife stuff, all this high frequency stuff, you can forget about it. Next slide. And there's what Rife was doing. He was riding a biphasic wave on top of a square wave. They call it a John Bedini was reproducing his work and coined it a pump wave. So they say you got to put a bias on it, which is completely untrue. I mean, you don't have to put a bias on the signal. Just blast it, pound it. That's how I mean, come on. They didn't know what they were doing. Next slide. So Tesla is true biphasic. Tesla Go. That's Tesla Go number 3. That's a destructive testing unit. That thing is still alive. And even though it's been dropped from 2 meters, it's just solid as it looks like a brick. As long as you don't crack the case open, it survives. It's got a nice case. Next slide. Okay, and what's inside of it is biphasically connected transformers. So you have a capacitor, a high intensity discharge from a capacitor into the coil. 3 to 5 times per half cycle, like we saw earlier on the waveforms. It just blasts, boom, 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 boom. And that's what you need to ring that bell. And you want to be in, that's where think of that analogy. You want to strike the bell and be in the bell, in between the phases, and be right in the null zone, in the canceling zone, and be in that energy. That's where the healing expresses. And that's what's done electrically. So we have 2 coils that are opposing each other. We get between them and we get in that resonant point, and we actually can get back to source. And nobody really knows why it works or how it works or how it could be works, but how the hell is it that I'm talking to you right now? That's the same kind of miracle, I think. Next slide. So we have biphasic waves, and we have torus fields that are, when you get in the biphasic field and get in that null point, that's where the healing occurs. But you can only get there through the resonance of striking the ether. And you can only strike the ether if you have enough intensity and enough transient force, and then it will snap back at you. You hit it, and it's like, you do make a little effect, but it reflects almost all of it, boom, back to you, and that's called counter EMF. And when you get that counter EMF shock, then it oscillates up and down, and dissipates that energy back in a biphasic wave back down to zero, like a vortex, like a like a horizontal vortex coming back to zero. And that's all the longitudinal resonant healing. And it goes across the entire spectrum. Like I said, you can listen up in the highest frequencies and you'll hear it. Next slide. So it's like, this is William Alec. He talks about this a lot. He's on this channel. You can go back and look at his talks. He talks about longitudinals and transverse, the difference. But he's come up with transformers. He's patented split flux, what he's calling split flux transformers that do this very thing. And it comes up with a biphasic split. So there are people working on this stuff. But that's what's in the box. It's essentially a split flux transformer with a capacitor and a controller, thyristor controller. That's how it works. So it's all about bringing the ether. Next slide. So there's Tesla Go. We auctioned this off last year. There's Tesla Go number 1, and now we're up to Tesla Go, working on Tesla Go number 12 right now. Next slide. Number 1. Next slide. And there's the electrodes. So you get between these electrodes, you can put, on well, you got a problem, put one on each side of your knee or whatever, wherever. One on your feet, on your wherever. Although I'm not giving any kind of medical advice, I'm just telling you what I've done. But they're usable and they don't burn you like a high frequency would burn you. These don't burn you. So that is why we go to low frequency, not because it's more effective. Like I say, it works across the entire spectrum, but because it doesn't burn you and you can actually get intimate without having to worry. Next. So there is an example of me, some inflammation I'd gotten and I used the machine. This is the first prototype we put together, and it's possible to turn this thing up to completely full power and not get burned at all. Next slide. And you can have your socks on. You go right to your socks. It's you can put one under a cushion on your chair, one behind a cushion behind your back, and it'll still be effective. You just turn the power up. It's got a lot of power. Next slide. And there you see it'll light a fluorescent bulb like Eric was doing earlier. There's a fluorescent bulb between the 2 electrodes. That's where you want to be. That's where the energy is. That's where the healing occurs, in that field. It could be. It extends beyond the 2 pads. You can see I'm holding a fluorescent, compact fluorescent bulb, putting one electrode against this metal stove in the room, and it's lighting. So the whole room is filled with that energy. Next slide. So there you get the aurora off the pads. Next slide. And here's nearby phasics, like I was talking about earlier. It's another unit we used to promote, but we're not anymore because the Avon is so much better. I mean, but this guy's good too. I mean, they're all good, but this is a particularly good one. But the Avon can stay on continuously. This can't. It times out. And if you want to wear it all night, you can't because it times out. But the new one, the Avon, you can control the pulse width also. This one, you can't control the pulse width. With the Avon, you can control the pulse width. And it's, plus, with the Avon, you can control any frequency. You can dial in any frequency all the way from 0 to 150 and have it operate continuously. You can't do that with this one. But it's still a nice unit. We used to promote it, but now they've got better things. It seems to always get better, doesn't it? Okay, next slide. So these are common, and used for massage and pain relief. And they're Tesla biphasic 100 hertz units, Tesla was originally using vibrators to accomplish this, going positive, negative, positive, negative. And these units are non-inductive. They don't have coils. They don't have capacitors. They simply have the DC bus, and they switch between positive and negative. That's all they do. It's like a relay, positive, negative, positive, negative. Tesla used a vibrator with contacts, and he would just vibrate it at 100 hertz, and that would switch between positive and negative. That's all you need. It's how simple it is. And what they've done is they've tied a computer to the front end of that switch, and now they can give you all kinds of functions because they can control the switching. So if you can control the switching, you can give it massage functions and modulations and all kinds of different things. That's what they've done. Next. And they come in all kinds of flavors. There's another nice one. We used to promote this one actually too. Not anymore. Next. Oh, wait a minute. Go back, Steve. There, not that far. Next one. There's the waveform. There's the nearby phasic waveform. You see that? That waveform is no inductance. You see, it just goes positive and negative, positive, negative. And you see it's not as intense. There's not the intensity with nearby phasics. That's why true biphasics is so much more effective. I mean, it's so intense, and then it rings. I mean, because it gets a reflection off the ether. It's boom, boom, back at you. That doesn't happen with this. This kind of went, boom, 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 but it does work. I mean, it's FDA approved for glioblastoma. Next slide. And then you can put your own probes on it. So I've done with this unit. So you can treat brown recluse bites or localized infections or whatever. You can put current through it and put it in the longitudinal field and create healing. It really wipes out venomous bites. It really takes care of those. It's really saved me from a bad brown recluse, for sure. Next. And they're using them for glioblastoma, only approved for glioblastoma, even though it could treat so many, just about anything, right? Like Tesla said. But what do? They limit its use to glioblastoma, and only after you tried everything else that's going to poison and toxin you out, right? And then they might give you the electric medicine, which is FDA approved, but it's not protocol to give it to you first thing, unless, of course, you know better. Do it yourself, actually, if you really had a mind to. Not that I'm suggesting that. Next slide. Yes, thank you, Dr. Tesla. Some people are happy about it. Next slide. So it's all about balance. Pulse longitudinal scalar fields. It's not PEMF. All these PEMF machines that you see out there, if it doesn't consume massive amounts of current, it's not real PEMF. They're calling everything PEMF. And all it is EMF. So they're putting coils around you and pulsing the coils, right? With square waves, right? They're not even biphasic waves. They're just pulsing square waves and this little wimpy current. And we're good. We're pulsing. There's no healing component there to speak of. I mean, it's microscopic. I mean, there's no current. There's no I. It doesn't exist in any kind of quantity that's going to do a thing. But everybody, but the good thing is that the placebo effect is responsible for, they say, up to 40% of healing, right? So that means they do work as long as you believe in them. So if you believe in them, don't listen to this. Next slide. And Time Magazine now did a recent article, why it's time to take electrified medicine seriously. They're finally getting into it in a big way, but they want it to be invasive. They want to, instead of just putting the pads on these outer skin, which is all you need to do in strategic places, and it works just fine, but they want to open the skin up and implant them and have procedures and surgeries to be able to put electrodes inside of you to make some money, because they only make money on procedures primarily. So they want procedures medicine. Next slide. And tells a little bit about it. Next slide. Next slide, Steve. There we go. Yeah, long forgotten natural therapies and innovative treatments, holistic and proven approach for reversing disease. They're finally admitting it. Next. Pulse longitudinal scalar fields, AKA love. Next slide. Yeah, it's out there. So, any more questions? We're at the hour-and-a-half mark. It's getting late in your game, isn't it, Steve?
Yeah, it is getting late, and we're going to have to cut this kind of short here. Somebody
Well,
wants to know how to get the Tesla Go.
How do you get it?
Yeah, how do you get it?
Contact me at Tesla or TEBA at teslaengine.org.
You get that? Anyway, I'm going to have to get ready to go. It's been a long night. And thank you for coming here, Jeff, and reviewing all this technology. All this stuff is available on the last year's conference now, under presentation origins. And they can get you by contacting TEBA at teslaengine.org.
Right. TEBA, Tesla Engine Builders Association.
And if you have a problem, go to me and I'll pass on the email address. Okay? And thank you again.
There's no comparables. I wish there was. I wish somebody would come in and like mass produce this stuff and have it as available as the nearby phasing. But I don't think that's ever going to happen. I mean, medically, they're only using nearby phasic. They're not using true biphasic. But they medically, and that's what they're resisting. They're resisting true biphasics. I mean, that's what these med beds use.
Well, I hope my business partner, Terry Wolf, is watching this because he's undergoing some procedures for some cancers. And I hope he's looking better and better. He's undergoing a lot of different therapies.
Well, $22.30 plus shipping and tax. Well, probably free shipping. Buy a few of them.
Anyway, I gotta get going here. Remind you all, we'll see you next week. Next week we have Professor Hackasays coming to talk about more scalar technology. He's more on the hardware side, I believe, and on Tesla coils. And thank you again, Jeff. And hopefully you'll get your abstract in. So you do a presentation at the conference. And then I want to remind everyone to join our YouTube channel. It's $9.99 a month to join. If you just subscribe, it's free. Any subscription gets you notified when we have stuff. But we need you to join if at all possible. Our goal is to get to 1,000 members by the end of next year. And thank you much. Other people know about us. Don't make us the best kept secret in science. Thank you, and I'll see you all next week. Thank you.